Hey fantasy football fans, it's me, the Fantasy Football Girl, coming at you with another edition of Vlog Times. Let's jump right into a review of my start, sit, and extra from week 11. My start was Felix Jones, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. He carried the ball 11 times for 51 yards and had 3 receptions for 35 yards. However, he did not see the end zone. But if you remember, he did go out in the third quarter of the game with an injury to his right hip. Now, reports out of Dallas are that the injury is fairly serious and he's day-to-day. Considering the short turnaround and the fact that the Cowboys play the Saints on Thanksgiving, I think Jones is likely a sit for Week 12. However, you can never predict injuries, and I just feel like had he played the entirety of the game on Sunday, he would have definitely made up better stats and probably found the end zone, but what can you do? My sit, Mike Williams of Seattle, also suffered an injury. Actually, in one of the first few moments of the game, he hauled in a 68-yard reception, looked great, but he injured his foot. He fought through the pain until the third quarter where he exited the game. The guy ended up with 6 receptions and 109 yards, and that was against the #1 rated New Orleans pass defense. He is certainly redeeming himself. I do think he's going to be out for Week 12 with that foot injury, but Week 13, the Seahawks take on the Panthers and their sieve-like secondary, so I think Williams is definitely a start then. I might have missed a little on the sit this week, though he did get injured, but wow, this kid is really, really defining redemption this season. My extra, speaking of redemption, was Brandon Gibson, wide receiver for the St. Louis Rams. He had 5 receptions for 42 yards, and I had a feeling this would happen. 1 touchdown, finally. He is certainly starting to prove himself. He and Bradford are showing good chemistry. He's definitely worked his way up as the #2 to Amendola amongst the receiving corps. In Week 12, the Rams are taking on the 20th ranked Denver pass defense. And in Week 13, he'll face the 26th ranked Arizona D, which, as we know, Mike Williams destroyed 2 times. So I think that Gibson is a nice, sneaky sleeper. By no means a must start. But if you're looking for depth as we approach the playoffs, Gibson is a decent stash away. Now we'll go right into bust bombs and bonuses. My bust this week, oh my goodness, Pierre Garçon, we are in a fight. We are in a massive fight. He had 5 receptions for 62 yards. He hasn't found the end zone since Week 6. He's getting plenty of looks, but he's also dropping plenty of balls. I have to admit, though, I made Dwayne Bowe a bomb after Week 5 for dropping balls, and he lit it up. So maybe Garçon will have a similar fate. As a Garçon owner, I certainly hope so, but I'm definitely more than beginning to get a little bit wary. Still, he's certainly not exceeding the expectations that everyone had for him, especially after the end of last season. Speaking of not meeting expectations, we're going to talk about my bomb this week, who is absolutely Randy Moss, formerly of the New England Patriots and the Minnesota Vikings, currently a wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. Do you hear that? Do you hear that sound? It's the sound of fantasy hearts breaking nationwide. What the F, Randy? You're destroying me. In fact, Randy Moss in the past 2 weeks has had fewer receptions than Johnny Lee Higgins? Who's that, you say? Yeah, that's the point. Now, this week, in Week 12, Moss will be facing the Houston secondary, who we know has blessed many a fantasy owner, assuming you're playing an offense against them. Still, with Rusty Smith starting under center and all of the troubles at quarterback, and I assume in the locker room for the Titans, I think that Moss is a start only for the most brave and optimistic. All right, let's move on to my bonus. And how can I not give my bonus to this guy who lit up the field on Sunday and made a pretty witty joke? Stevie Johnson, the Joker, if you will. He had 8 receptions for 137 yards, 3 monster touchdowns. If you haven't seen his nod to former teammate T.O., I put a little link below. You'll get a kick out of it, so if you haven't seen it, be sure to check that out. Listen, Johnson and Ryan Fitzpatrick are definitely clicking. This week they take on the Steelers defense, which is certainly staunch against the run, but not so much against the pass. I think this kid is certainly proving to be an every week start. I like him. I wish I had him. I'm actually playing against him this week, so we'll see. Maybe I'll get a Thanksgiving blessing. All right, guys, that is Bus Bombs and bonuses for this week. Have a fabulous, fabulous Turkey Day. I'll hopefully be back before then with a little something to surprise you. Eat well, play better. See you later.